Welcome to the Chapter 416 podcast, where we start with strategy and taper off into storytelling. Pajama fans, that is Brad Chester interrupting me again. And we are here today to break down the game of Warhammer 40k and tell you some fantastic tales, potentially, woven into some useful strategy. That's our goal for today. And we're going to start off with strategy. I'd like to talk about an army. We both want to talk about Orks. It's the army I've played the most in my previous life when I was actually a 40k player. Now I am a retired, stay-at-home old man and no longer play the game. But I live vicariously through the man, the myth, the legend, the Chester. Brad, is it true? The internet says that Orks are no longer A- codex. They had a good run in the 10th edition, and now from what I've heard, they're just obsolete. But I don't know. They're
still very good. There's a power level. There's a lot going on right now. The problem is that Orks went from an army that was just kind of an aggression army to an army that has a lot of tactical. Their new Grotmasks detachment. Basically playing Orks gives you good options, but they have a low floor. Things can fall off. The wheels can fall off the wagon really quickly. But I think it's important when you look at a list of any list, but especially Orks, and you have to give yourself a game plan. What are the things that I need to play the game? What do I need to score? What do I need to move block? What do I need for damage? And they've got some great new units.
I'm no stranger to army list design or deployment or tactics or screening or understanding how to achieve my objective and getting more points than you in any tournament you've ever been to. So I know how to do that. What I don't know, because I'm a garage 40k player these days, and that's like maybe twice a year. Can you explain the detachment? What makes the detachment so good?
I love it because tactics gives you options. You can choose 4 things. One is +1 strength. The biggest is +1 to hit for Orks. So you're taking these really good weapons and putting them in the hands of people now hitting on 4s. They basically gave me Bad Rock back and gave you an enhancement for full rerolls. A 10-man flash kit unit led by a big mega armor. Gives the unit 4 up invul, gives the unit read, and the enhancement gives them full rerolls, which is a huge deal when you're talking about a unit that puts out 40 shots to the nearest thing. Also, remember, Overwatch is fantastic with this unit with full rerolls. You're looking at 22 average hits on that because they have sustained 1. So every hit's 2 hits. They also have a ammo rod to give you lethal hits with the game. The unit can really do some work, and everybody forgets that flash kits are knobs. They have 4 base attacks at strength 5. One of the things you can also give on tactics is that +1 strength. Give them stealth, +1 to hit in shooting. You've got options. You can put 1 or 2. If you do 2, you have to roll your leadership. If you fail it, it's like doing a pact for chaos. You take D3 mortals. New Tankbustas, once a game, can make their AP and strength go up when you first shoot. They go to strength 10, AP 3, flat 3 damage. You put a Big Mac with shock attack on, he gives you reroll 1s. Then choose the
I love shock attack guns.
I've been on the receiving end of a shock attack gun from Alan, and it's never
several.
I didn't like 0 out of 10.
I love flash kits. I love the idea of pirate Orks all the time, and I also love like the idea of taking Tankbustas. So that sounds great. Are these all in trucks?
That's the thing. Is you have lots of. This is one of my favorites. Is you get to pick and choose. Orks so many where you have solutions for everything, but you could choose correctly. Most of the time is around 3 trucks. My list right now is 2 units Beast Snagger Boys with 2 Beast Bosses, which gives you the option for doing dev wounds to
the Beast Bosses still have the reroll against the monsters.
Yeah, because the Beast Snaggers, they're doing dev wounds. They're anti-vehicle, anti-monster 4. When they charge, they do dev wounds. 2 dev wounds for every success, and they get full rerolls with Beast Snags. One of the strats is you can do either lethal, sustained. You can choose lethals for 1 CP and look for 6s with 1,000,000 attacks that are hitting on 2s. So it's not a big deal because they're +1 to hit with that beast.
You call that noodling. Noodling for 6s.
Noodling, baby. Noodling for 6s. But I really love when you bring those Tankbustas out. 3 damage is big in the meta right now.
Huge problem with Orks. Their damage was a big problem in earlier 10th.
100%.
Where they just didn't have the damage.
It's the AP was a big deal. When you're pushing things to AP 3 and the shock attack gun is AP 4.
Yeah.
And then you've got them hitting on 4, rerolling 1s. You get very consistent with the rockets. Each guy has a rocket, and the knob has 2 rocket pistols, which have the exact same stat line. It's just the distance. You're hitting hard, deleting it. I've been running 3 of those, 3 shock attack on 3 Tankbustas. That goes back to 8th edition when I took that army, but you completely made the army. While in line, in custom.
Oh, yeah. It's a great army. I love that army. How many times have we made an army list traveling to an event? Didn't think of a list. Lists were already due. It's too late. I hope we don't see this now. Or we leave an event. Someone played something. We countered it, built the counter meta in the car or the bus, the line, or we just made the list that they played better. We're like, oh, you could drop like these 500 points, like get rid of the flare, use the core, and then modify our own flare on top of it. I mean, that's just so common for competitive play. 100%. I feel like we're always doing that. So
it is. And one of the big things I always say, don't chase the meta, but be aware. Yeah. Be aware of what's out there. I like those Tankbustas so much. It's a heavy vehicle meta right now. It looks like you have a big dichotomy.
And Beast Boss.
The Beast has so many attacks, you can take care of trash. You have tank killing with full reroll, +1 to hit, +1 to wound. And then you've got ability to pick up trash too. So you have a little bit of both with the Orks. I really like to run 2 5-mans on the flash kits. So 110 with full rerolls, 2 5s, because nothing takes out the trash like
better than a 5-man unit of flash kits.
80 points gets you 20 attack. This is non-log, 20 attacks, could be strength 6 because of tactics. So you're wounding idiots on 2s if they're T3 models.
Yep.
But also you're shooting the closest target. That's 20 shots.
20 shots, yeah.
So 20 shots, 20 attacks, and the shots are all damage too. You can clear 2 units of nonsense with 1 80-point unit. I think they're fantastic.
Remember when the flash kits could shoot again at 6?
Oh, yeah. With no limit.
I did that in a tournament once. I rolled 6 times with a flash kit unit, full 10-man unit with Gadrug. And I kept rolling and rolling. It was insane. I killed everything in vicinity. I kept getting a 6 at the end. For those who don't know, you finish shooting, and if you roll a 6, you get to shoot again. The unit shoots again and picks a new target.
It was
pretty crazy. It was Ork Stomp with doubles. For the 2d6. You pick a new target within 12 inches at a tournament. Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. So, I agree with you. Orks always have play. I think the biggest thing, and I'm curious what you think about this. I think out of every army in 40K, they have the most loyal community of players. And they're also, if you were to graph them and ask how important is winning the tournament to you, they would be the lowest. They'd be the lowest score, right? They they want to play with the gargantuan squiggoth. They want to play with 150 boys. They want to play with their Gorkanaut and Morkanaut and their planes. And the guys who are really trying to game Orks are usually comes to the army when it really is an S tier codex, and they just don't want to struggle. Like there's just better things in the meta. They're not chasing Orks, and the people who remain playing Orks are playing their fun models. They're playing the models. They're like me, 7 Shinwark Warcoptas. Not competitive at all. Just body everyone, you know?
So annoying. The meme you created was so annoying too. Beating Brad in a tournament. Having them be legends the day after. Price.
So where would you put Orks right now? Just below top?
They're top of B2. They're not an A+ army because they don't have that. You need to know how to play the army.
We're talking about using things that counter meta, flash gates, shock attack guns, attaching things correctly, using trucks, maybe a 20-man unit, Zog, you're infiltrating.
He's a game changer.
Position. Yeah, it's just so good, right? You don't have the movement other than the trucks, and you're abusing the trucks a little bit. Someone playing Orks knows what they're doing, understands the meta. Can they go 5-0?
100%.
I think so too.
It's not the highest power level list, but it has the tools you need. The problem is that every army has to have a little bit of luck. So sometimes you're going to play against certain things that are going to be a little harder. If you make mistakes, Orks aren't very forgiving. If you play a perfect game, 5-0 within your grasp, I understand the pain of Ork players. One mistake and the dice gods come to talk to you.
What are some of the mistakes? Let's talk about them. I think when I watch you play lately, and I've played you over the last 5-6 years in a couple events here and there, I like the fact that you always put trucks next to an obscuring piece of terrain. If the truck happens to blow up,
you can get out.
Even if it doesn't look like it can, you always get out the unit and save it. You've done this in a lot of games, and you've also recycled trucks. I've noticed how you get another truck to come up and pick up that unit a turn later, and then get them back, move it up the flank, get guys out. So I feel like deploying your trucks in a way where you don't lose units is important.
Not losing the trucks too. I see people all the time after one. I think this is important actually. Like, because a lot of times I take my trucks and put them right on walls because I want an extra 3 inches and the unit behind gets in, the net 6-inch movement. But I see a lot of times is people throwing their trucks away. Now, those are the things that are doing secondaries for you. They're taking an objective when the game gets late and people don't have all the resources left to kill something that's got.
They're just annoying. They're just, you need quarters, you need to get behind.
You push that truck up and make it so they can't rapid ingress, deep strike. So many armies can recycle grain lines.
Yeah,
people
don't sacrifice.
Have every unit has value, even if it's just pushing things out 9 inches.
Going to win a trade if it can delay a reserve, secure your back line, keep something off an objective area, like
farm recovery, doing some random X. You don't.
And if you're keeping in mind what your opponent has drawn and what they could draw, you could be putting those trucks in positioning to mitigate.
I think it's a big deal. I see people all the time. They'll get people out, they'll drive that truck in to get extra attacks or pushing. They're not thinking about it as a valuable asset. It's a huge deal.
Don't take guesses because you're the expert. So I'm going to ask you. You tell me if I'm on crack or if I'm still thinking about the game the right way.
Crack. Well, you're on crack, but you could also be correct.
It's true. Another big thing would be killing something and not killing it or not figuring out.
That's with everybody.
But with Orks, you want to always win trades. You can't lose a unit without it killing one of your core units. That
it's so big.
Needs to get that kill to justify its existence. Okay, what's the math say? You want to be slightly higher than average?
I don't do anything unless it's an 83% chance of success.
Wow. Okay. So reserved. Reserved until and reserved until you're pretty confident.
I don't want to do anything unless it's 83. It's a D6 dice game.
Yeah.
I don't try to do anything like that because
if you have an army where you can move during your opponent's turn, you have reactive things, you have a bunch of strats that can keep things alive, or you just have 2 up saves with 4 up invulnerables. You could go for things, and if it doesn't pan out, it might not be the end of the world. You might be fine.
However, you know what Orks are wearing? T-shirts.
I know.
I'm as armed as an Ork.
Well aware.
That's a deal. One of the big things you talk about, committing, having that WAAGh in your back pocket.
Patience.
It's a big deal because now that they moved it to the command phase, you can threaten. I can move this far at max.
That's a bit of an old school tactic too, though. Right? Some people don't get it right away. You're always basically kind of like threatening things that are ridiculous. Like, oh, they can get 28 inches, but that's a 6 run and a 12-inch charge, and it's like, but you take out the tape measure, show them how far that is. So 100%. Then they're like, I might not want to get within 24. Dude, you're going to be fine.
Not getting out.
Yeah, getting out, but I'm going to tell you this. So you back up a little bit.
The big thing,
them down.
Once people know that the WAAGh is gone, then they can set up and go, okay, cool, I'm going to be right here.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and it's a big deal. Especially units like Zod. Zod goes 12 inches plus a D6. So he's going 13 minimum inches on his move. With 20 Gretchen, they can actually do real things because they're +1 to hit, +1 to wound. He's -1 to wound.
If you're in that middle area behind a ruin, behind obscuring, and it's just a little bit of trash you think is going to get you that middle board if you draw the card, and Zog's like, no, I'm not going to let that happen. Like he won't let that happen. If he rolls a small charge, it's huge. If he doesn't roll a big charge, he doesn't have to commit models into base contact.
It's just crazy. Yeah. Just going, you start touching stuff, especially everybody's vehicles. You're parking a lot their backfield.
Yeah, you don't mess with that stuff. No one will
the WAAGh
super waste time.
With -1 to wound. You have to wound him on 3s, even though they're toughness. And then he's got a 5-up invul. It's just so annoying because you're taking 33% of the damage away.
Yeah.
They're not wounding you as much. And all of a sudden somebody doesn't commit to killing that unit because it's 22 models. It's a lot of trash to get through.
I like that Orks have some legs. The buggy list is dead these days. There isn't a lot with the flyers. The Gorkanaut, Morkanaut, Stampa, Gargantuan Squig. I'm still a fun Ork player at heart. I got my Squig out right here on the shelf.
They need to change the prices. A lot of the big stuff is overpriced.
Killed so much Forge Ring.
Crazy.
I have so much.
I really wanted Dog to be better. That's the one thing I wish was better. I love my Squigs.
Yeah.
I love my Squig
Orks. I want to tell you a story. Do you know about Tuska, the Demon-Killer? You are 40K Lorecast.
I would like to hear that from you.
Tuska, the Demon-Killer Warboss,
I think when you say Demon-Killer, you mean a specific type of demon, though. Maybe.
Well, he was legendary renowned as the Demon-Killer before this happened.
True.
And then he was like, I want to earn my stripes in eternity. And then he walked into the warp with his entire Ork warband and fought Khorne and kinds of Khorne things inside the warp, bitch slapped a demon prince of Khorne who was like renowned, had like a name. When a demon prince gets a name, they're serious. I forgot his name. You know why? Because who cares? Tuska pimped.
Because it doesn't matter. Why. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Tuska went in and freaking people's elbowed him. I love the story because it's just such a great tale. It's a dude, Ork leader, renowned demon killer, goes in the war, fights until he dies. Then Khorne the god goes, this guy's cool. Let me create a small coliseum in my Khorne realm and bring him back to life eternity.
But
So he keeps
forever.
Fighting. He just keeps picking up his weapons and killing more. Every time he dies, Khorne wakes him up the next day and he fights again. Yeah, and again.
This does more power for Khorne.
I feel like it's the greatest outcome for any character in the entire 40K lore.
That's all he wanted to do.
Every other character in the grimdark future is just eating shit.
All of them. There's no happy endings.
This guy literally got his happy ending. I mean, it's still one of the coolest stories. I love the story. If we could have, for Adepticon, built this board, like I would have loved to build a display board of the warp and Tuska going through endless bodies of Khorne demons. That would have been the sickest board ever. I would have loved it.
I'm gonna segue your segue. We solidified what we're bringing for this year's Adepticon.
We did.
You've been playing Adepticon teams forever. What is your favorite army? Doesn't have to be favorite result. Your favorite. At Adepticon, you have a theme, comp, giant display board. I mean, when I'm talking giant, I'm talking huge, giant display boards. Just our last year's display board was what, 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall?
11 feet tall.
Fifth of the tree part.
Yeah. The throne was 9 feet.
What was your favorite army? The painted army, but also how much fun was the army? What was the best year?
For me, it's a close tie between when we did the Orc year and the World Eaters year. We did an Orc Moon and the story of the beast, and it was just fun. Orcs were fun that year. Daniel came in from Sweden. Daniel Hesselberg, captain of Team Sweden forever. I don't care who your captain is these days. It's still Daniel in my eyes. We had a really good time. And then World Eaters with Angron, I think 10th just dropped. It was your first year on the team, Brad.
Sure.
We pivoted off guard. We thought the comp score for guard would be atrocious.
It was my second year. We won the first year.
We thought guard would be atrocious. We were like, guard's going to just get absolutely destroyed in combat teams. So we moved off of guard. We played World Eaters. We had a great time, and we made a really cool board. It was like a 4 scenes of Angron's life. So it was him as a gladiator meeting the Emperor, and his people. The Emperor teleports him away. Then it was him and the 30K Istvan 3 fighting. We made the scene of the dead Emperor's death guard. They virus bombed the planet. Then the third scene was the Battle of Terra when he turned into a demon prince for the first time. And the fourth was at the reactor gate when he turned into a full-blown demon. Had 4 versions of Angron on the board. Yeah, and then the blood vodka fruit punch fountain up on the board. I'm not the finesse reserve chill player. I'm like, let's go kill people.
I'm telling you,
leaders.
I have to throw this because Alan and I only play once in 5 games every year because we're not allowed. We get booted. So we went to play
as teammates. He's talking about as teammates.
Because you play people. There's 4 people on a team. It gets split, and you play 2 on one table and 2 on another table. 2v2. So on day 2, you get to choose who you want. Everybody has to play at least once. Al and I are playing. This is the Negroni show. This is with you at A-Ground. And we're sitting. And I'm telling him, we don't charge. We're just going to sit. We're going to get our points. We're going to sit. We're going to get our points. And he's getting more and more angry with me. Finally, he looks at me and goes, I will never play 40K if I don't get to do stuff. I don't care if I'm winning or losing. And they just went and made some random super long charge in the back. And we're just like, I don't care what we're doing. I'm still
Yeah, that's what I do. I had fun. Those were my fun years. Tuska, the best of the Orks. I'm glad we told a quick Orc story because we are sponsored by
40K Lorecast. 40KLorecast.com. Go to our website. Go to the thing. Listen to us on Spotify.
And we are sponsored by Proof and Wood. This is their rye called Tumbling Dice. This is a fantastic rye. It's distilled in Indiana, around 104.6 proof. I love it. It smells good. Very good nose. And it has a great finish. Soft. Brad, I'll probably make you a bourbon smash since you can't drink straight, but it is fantastic stuff.
Bourbon smashes are delicious. They're so good.
This will actually be great in a bourbon smash.
You can't make me something delicious and expect me not to drink it.
That's a valid point.
You did perfect it by making me drink so many. You kept handing me new ones with a slightly different variation.
I like trying to make cocktails better.
We were watching the Super Bowl.
It was unfortunate the second one was the best. And I'm like, I don't know if I can make that one again. I'm not sure.
Well, the funny thing is you sat down and went, I have no idea what I put in that drink.
Because I was making my own drinks. That's kind of what happened. Yeah.
It was in the evening after drinking all day.
Definitely. Grinds my gears.
Ready for it.
I got one for you today. Are you ready? I don't know if you are.
Hold on.
I actually got it.
Hold on. I got to get my sheet together. All right.
I wanted to talk to you about something. I know you've already had conversations with other people around. I wanted to bring up the weaponization of playing by intent and your thoughts.
I don't think playing by intent is what you think playing by intent is. Here's what I'm trying to do. I have to get you involved in this. I would like to do this, Alan. A lot of times I bring extra models so I can make sure I measure it out. Is it physically possible for me to try to hide from you? I've measured. Do we both agree this is 9 inches from the edge? That is playing intent. Me explaining what I'm trying to do. That is what I think intent is.
That's not what it is.
When you play by that, things happen on the board. Stuff gets bumped. A giant person hits your board. Everything shakes. Dice hit a model.
Water bottles could possibly move
Water bottles could be
hit.
But if you communicate with your opponent, saying what you're trying to do and ask for their help.
Listen to you explaining like playing with your opponent. You're literally explaining like, I want to do actions, but before I do them, I want to check to confirm. And that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
That's what I mean.
That's not what play by intent has become. You know this. I know this. I've watched some streams. I'm not a big stream watcher, but I've watched some. And there is a passive aggressive attitude with this play by intent thing taken completely out of context, in my opinion. People are saying, I intend to do X, Y, and Z, and just start moving models. There is no agreement from their opponent. There is no proof that what you intend to do is even possible. No, but that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening in the game.
Yeah, but you're bastardizing.
The vast majority of people claim that they play by intent. I watch the streams. Okay, go look at the streams. Pick a stream, any stream. You're going to see it. It's on there. And also there's this new thing now where it's like, it's way past that action. It's way past when you moved your models. It's way past your movement or assault phase. It's my turn now. I'm trying to put a unit behind you, get a little spot. I found a little 9-inch spot. You said absolutely nothing during your turn. Positioned your models. I can get a heroic on you. You said nothing. And I go, I'm going to heroic you. And you're like, well, my intent is for you not to heroic me. No, that's not how this works. If before you touched a model, you were like, my intent, I know you can heroic. I'm going to move in and I want to be positioned in a way where you can't heroic. Do you mind helping me measure it?
Yeah, right? Also, is this possible?
Is it possible? Do you mind helping me measure it to see if it's possible? Right. That is, in my opinion, fine if you want to call that play by intent. I call that just playing 40K. That's like typically what you should be doing. You should always be doing that. It's an interactive game with another person for at least an hour and a half.
Can I ask a scenario on your intent?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
If I have 3 charges, 2 here, 1 on the other side of the table, and I tell you what I'm doing. I'm moving here, trying to charge here, declare this unit, try to pile into your tank, charge over here. If I make these 2 charges, and I forget this, but I told you I want to make that charge.
That's fine. There's different levels of douchebaggery. If you've gone to the assault phase and you're like, oh, I forgot to move the models. I was obviously going to charge. That's fine. If anyone says you can't charge now, you've passed the charge phase. That is a bit unsportsmanlike, especially fairly clear.
Just wanted your opinion on that.
I feel like it's not an intention thing though. That's just like, I'm trying to play quick for the game and you know I'm going to charge there.
But I do that's intent because I told you what I want to do.
In your example, people get excited when they charge. They forget to move models. It's inappropriate for you to punish them on that fact. Now, there's different things like that. That's something that you as the opponent, like the person getting charged, there was very little you could do to stop that scenario. Now, in another instance, I charge in and I didn't say anything to you. You try to heroic me and I go, oh, I don't want to get heroic here. I forgot, right? Oh, I intended not to get heroic. No, that's not cool because now there's interaction. You shoot my Khorne Berserker unit, forget about Blood Surge, or get too close to my demon, forget about Blood Surge. And then I go, okay, I'm surging you. I'm getting you in combat. You're like, oh, my intent was to stay out of the 6. No, that's not your intent. You said nothing, right? And then this goes further because when I'm on these streams, there is almost a disdain if a player does not allow the person to get the takesy backsy. It's like, oh, there's a lot of takebacks here. This is nice. No, it's inappropriate for the game. I disagree completely because interaction is the point of this game. It's like playing chess. You moved your pawn, took your fingers off. I took it with my queen. Now you're in check. You're like, oh, my intention wasn't to get in check. Yeah, no shit. Game, that's how the game works. When there's an interaction, it's inappropriate to weaponize intent. When there's something like, I move this charge, we settled an Overwatch, actions happened, we got excited. Clearly, I'm going to charge here because I've exposed my entire unit. If I don't charge, they all die. You're penalizing your opponent for something that, is a genuine forgetfulness, not a mistake, right? Not remembering the interaction, not remembering the blood surge, not remembering the heroic intervention, not remembering a potential stratagem that I have where I can Cody as you, for example, right? Like these kind of things. This is a game mistake. A game mistake and a human mistake are two different things, in my opinion, right? If you make a human mistake on the board where there was no real interaction possible, giving your opponent the benefit of doubt on those things is a sportsman-like thing to do. Giving your opponent the benefit of a doubt on a game mistake is not only inappropriate to everyone else in the tournament because you are now creating an artificial and fake game, but also it's inappropriate to your opponent. If they want to learn, if they want to get better, they need to make that mistake. And you need to help them make that mistake so that they stop making that mistake. Because they're going to go to the next table and they're going to play with some introverts who are going to get a very bad taste in their mouth. They're going to leave that game and go, oh, he screwed this up, but he kind of, whined about it. So I gave it to him and I lost. I shouldn't have lost. And they feel bad and talk in the cafeteria or the lunch area or wherever they're eating, right? That's not good for the game. If someone makes a mistake, suck it up. There's another tournament. There's another round, another event, another game. Don't be that guy. That's not cool. That's my gears.
I'll give it to you. I think that people need to communicate more, to be perfectly honest also. I think you have a social agreement with your opponent, not to have them have a great time, but to make sure that they don't have a bad time. And I think part of that goes through explaining what you're doing, talking out loud. Hey, getting their interaction. Here's
and
my
talking to, not mumbling to yourself.
Yeah.
If I move here, if I move there, if I move there.
That's where you get their acknowledgement.
I love you, Kurt. Don't fight me. I love you, Kurt. Wherever you are. Don't thumb me, bro. Don't thumb me, bro. Remember, Kurt?
You could die from that, bro.
You would just mumble to himself the whole game. You're like, what are you talking about? Don't worry about it. I'm just planning my turn. Why are you doing it out loud? You have a brain. Like, just think inside the head.
But I like to say things out loud to make sure my opponent knows what I'm doing.
Mumbling, which many people do. They don't communicate to the point. I love Kurt. Kurt's the best. Not saying anything negative. There are people who mumble things. There's probably a group of people who said it in their head. And then they were like, well, I didn't intend to do that. Yeah. But I'm not a mind reader, and it looks like to me, you made a game mistake and I have to hold you on it. It is what it is. You shouldn't be trying to fish game mistakes.
Gotcha.
Be putting their models on the table before they move and then saying, oh, your movement's done. You shouldn't be doing any of those things. Those are not cool. Those are not cool. We all know those are not cool. Shouldn't be Pamps, right? I can name Pamps. He got me so good. I finished moving. He goes, all right, who are you going to shoot? And I'm like, well, I'm going to shoot here and here, but let me think about it. He's like, you declared it. I'm going to pass Nexus. You can't shoot at them now. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't say. He's like, I asked who you're going to shoot. You said here and here. He's like, I got you. And I'm like, that's not cool. I still think that's not cool, but he got me good. I told him that 2 minutes later. I was mad about it, but I was like, you got me good.
Next thing you're going to put Wraith Knights in psychic range.
Oh, that was great. I psychic screamed Brad's Wraith Knight off a table at LVO. It was to go into the semifinals. Then I had to go get married. So that was pretty funny. Yeah. But you're my best man. What if you beat me? Then you wouldn't have been at my wedding.
I would have just still left.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad to hear that, actually. That's good. That's good news.
He's like, what are you going to do if he goes? I'm going to explain to Eddie. I had to play with my toys.
Can you win the ITC now without going to England? Is it possible?
If somebody won all of the 500-man English tournaments and they came into LVO and did well, because they'd be too many points in the current point set. Yeah. However, it's not probable that someone's going to do that in the first place.
I miss this, man. I appreciate you taking the time to get back with me.
I'm excited to run this.
I am too, man. I am too. I'm very excited to run this. But that is all for today's chapter of the podcast, Chapter 416, which is our new title. And I am Pajama Pants. That is Brad Chester.
This guy.
We really appreciate everyone watching and tuning in. Feel free to click the thumbs up button. That does help other people find the podcast. And if you want to know when we actually launch the videos, feel free to subscribe and turn on that notification. Thank you guys so much.